I was sent the script for The Kindergarten Teacher in a pretty conventional way. They just approached me about it, and I had a sort of a rare reaction. I've had it before, but where really contained inside the script was, I think, the possibility of telling a really complicated, interesting story. Sometimes, I'll be approached about something and it won't be in the script. It'll be sort of partially in the script, but Robert Duvall and Jeff Bridges are in it, or whatever it is. In this case, I didn't know Sarah Colangelo at the time, but she had written something that I just knew when I finished it. I was like, I need to do this. I have a lot of thoughts about preparation. It shifts and it's changed a lot as I've changed and shifted. I think there came a time when I was maybe like 35, 36, a few years ago, where I really understood how to work. I would just break down a scene into what is the event of the scene and what do I need and what are my obstacles, kind of classic way of looking at a scene. And in order to answer the questions, I would kind of use like a dreamy, almost a kind of unconscious part of my mind in terms of thinking about how to break the scene down. And then once I would get on set, I would have some kind of point of view about what I wanted the scene to be, but I would hopefully usually just let it go and see where it took me. But I would be able to know, okay, even though the scene is written this way and these are the lines and it isn't explicit, I think this scene is an apology, for example. And so I'm gonna play it that way. And even though I'm saying these words to you, I'm gonna be apologizing. For example. And then lately, I've been like throwing it away even more. It's not that I don't believe in work and doing the technical work. I do, and I think it's really served me. And I think since I've started really taking that seriously, my work has vastly improved. But I'm also now kind of toying with I don't know how to really put my finger on it. Just sort of going at it all from a sort of trippier place, a more a dreamier place, a more kind of unconscious place, just opening my mind, my heart to the ideas that I think are in the piece and seeing what ends up bubbling up, as well as doing the other work, I think. But I think mostly with The Kindergarten Teacher, I don't think I knew that this is what I was doing at the time. I don't know what I was doing. I was doing the just open myself up to the project kind of thing, which is very difficult to describe, but I think what I was doing was getting in touch with the part of myself that I think many women are getting in touch with right now. The part of myself that was there's a cost and there's a consequence to having twisted myself into pretzels and bent over backwards to fit myself into the culture that we live in as a woman. And getting in touch in some way with what that cost is, because that's what I really think The Kindergarten Teacher is about. There are some very simple things that you just have to do almost directorially. Our movie hinges on the audience having to decide for themselves at each moment whether they understand and empathize with her or are repelled by her. And it's got to shift and change all the way through the movie, to the very last moment. And so, there's some things you just know, you have to think through. In order for that to work, the movie has to start with her being warm, curious, friendly, really great kindergarten teacher. There's a way to play it, I guess, where she's like a dark, sad shadow. And maybe that's even a more conventional way to read the script and begin it. I think that would have alienated everybody. I think she has to be somebody who could be your friend, could be my friend, So that's one thing. In terms of acting with the little boy, Parker, who plays Jimmy, I have a lot of strong feelings about this. I don't personally believe that a 5-year-old is an actor. I just don't think it's possible, and I don't think it's fair to ask them to do it. And we have this weird job where 5-year-olds have to come to work. And I had a 5-year-old at the time, I have a 6-year-old now, but I had a child exactly the same age as Parker. So I was really in touch with, how truly vulnerable a 5-year-old is. And it's hard to remember. It's hard, I don't remember now because I have a 6-year-old, it's like, but it's extreme, and it's something that's very different than a grown-up. And so there was, in fact, a moment where, even though I was so deeply compelled by the script and the ideas in it, I almost didn't do it because I thought, how are we going to protect him? I don't want this child for 1 minute to feel that his boundaries are crossed in the way that the character's boundaries are crossed. And yet, the movie was made by a group of mothers of small children. All of us, Sarah, me, the producers, we all were really in touch with that. And so basically, it was very important to me. I just thought, anyway, even if it hadn't been like a sort of upsetting, well, not sort of, an upsetting story, which it is, I still think the only way to work with a child that age is super technically. You cannot ask him, can you go a little deeper into the pain in your heart? A 5-year-old is never going to understand that. So it was more like, stand here, and when I clap my hands, turn around and look at this X on the wall, or even, no X on the wall, just Parker, turns around and looks at you, and then say, I don't want to go. And he'd turn around and say, I don't want to go. And we'd say, no, sing it like a song. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And just imitate us, just like a song. And we got this shorthand with him where we would sing it and he would sing it back to us. And I think he's so bright. I think what's so wonderful about Parker is that he isn't performing himself in the way that we all end up doing. And it's shocking to see how early little kids even start to do it. He's not. And he's really bright and smart. But I will say that it's Sarah who put together that performance. Because if we had done it any other way, we would have been compromising him. And we didn't compromise him. I'm proud of a lot of things. I really am proud of it. I love sitting in, I've seen the movie twice, all the way through with an audience. And then I've seen the end, the sort of last sequence, many times, because we've been doing a lot of Q&As afterwards. And I've never been involved with a movie where the audience is so vocal, where they laugh and gasp and almost moan as they're watching the movie. At first I found that really difficult, to be honest, especially the laughter. There was a part at Sundance, the first time I saw it, where it really felt as if the audience was laughing at her. And I think they were laughing at her. And of course I relate so deeply to her, even though obviously I know she's so flawed. And I think what's so cool about it is they were laughing at her because they had been so allied with her. And then she really disturbed them. And I think the laughter in some ways was I had nothing to do with this. I was never on her side. This woman is nothing like me. And then what's so amazing is right after that moment, you have to be alone with her weeping in a bathroom and feel the effect of your laughter on a really real human. So I don't know, I guess I'm very proud of the effect it has. And also, I'm proud that, you can like it or not like it. You can empathize with her or not empathize with her. You can empathize with her up till this point and not after. Or you can go with her on and off all throughout the movie. But I can say that I know that what we're offering is something truthful. And then the opportunity to decide for yourself where you come out on it. And I think especially in America where we're being lied to all the time, and both sides agree on that. The far right says all the media is lies, and the left says the president is lying to you. I think we're a little bit inured to it, and I think people are hungry for something truthful and for the opportunity to come up with their own position, after being offered something truthful, which is what the movie does. So I feel proud of that. I guess it's always going to be, it's going to weaken you and your work to try to fit yourself into some idea of what you think other people think you're supposed to be. I mean, of course, we all do that, and it weakens our work, you know? But the strongest work, I think, comes from finding a confidence and finding the vulnerability to let who you actually are into your work. And I actually think vanity, which of course we all have vanity, you know, so I relate to all of this, can be really problematic in terms of work. And sometimes I see actors, it's like we all respond to what's human. We also respond to beauty, of course, but I do anyway. I see someone whose body looks real, whose face looks real, whose makeup is a little messed up or has some wrinkles, you know, and I recognize humanity in it, and the work is stronger. So I think to try to erase all of those things, which are, you know, I guess in some ways considered flaws, I think really does also weaken the work. But the other thing I would say, this is more of an acting thing than like a life thing. But I find if I'm ever just only meaning the literal meaning of the words, I'm like bored and it's not that good. What I think makes work that I like to watch of my own and of other people's is when you have some other motive. You are saying the words and you mean them, but there's at least one other thing going on that you're trying to communicate to the other person you're working with, or that is important in the scene. And if it's just literal, I'm always in trouble.